Gagliardi, and I'm an Executive National Vice President with Arbonne. And what I'm going to do tonight is just simply share some information about the business. So you were probably invited onto this call because maybe a friend said, I'd love to share with you more about my business. And you said, okay, I'll take some more information. And that's all this simply is tonight. It's just more information. I'm just going to basically share my story and a couple of things about Arbonne. And then that way, if you have some questions, feel free to ask those questions in the feed, because there's lots of different folks on that feed that are, successful national vice presidents, regional vice presidents, consultants of all stages in this business. And there are plenty of people to help answer any questions you have. So thank you for all of our guests who are on with us tonight live. I'm excited to share with you. So just to get this started off, I want to kind of share with you a little bit about myself and how I came to do this business called Arbonne. So it was almost, gosh, it'll be 14 years in December that I was first introduced to Arbonne, you guys. I lived in Norman, Oklahoma at the time, and I was invited to a spa party. And my friend who invited me, she invited me to come over. And I have 4 kids, you guys. Today they're 24, 23, 21, and almost 20. My youngest will be 20 on Friday. And so if you do the math, I mean, we were pretty busy. I was a pretty busy mom. And I frankly, honestly, just didn't have time to go to her cute little Arbonne spa party. I had never heard of Arbonne before. But she twisted my arm a little bit when she talked about the really good, yummy food they were going to be having. Her husband was going to be making carne asada from scratch and some homemade guacamole and salsa. I'm like, you had me at carne asada. So we went that night really because it was an opportunity for us to have a free date, be around other adults, and get out of the house. And we dropped our kids off at my mom's so she could watch them, and we went on over there. Now, I remember, watching the consultant. Her name is Carlita. I remember watching her set out her stuff and asked her questions about it, but it wasn't until she did the presentation that I really paid attention to the products and what makes Arbonne different. You guys, she talked about being a label reader. Now, I know everybody today is a label reader, right? Or most everybody. With Facebook and the social media world that we have today, our awareness has changed tremendously over the last 13 and a half years. But back then in Oklahoma, I didn't know a whole lot of label readers. So I was really curious. And I'm one of those types of minds, you guys, that I like to research things. So she had definitely piqued my curiosity, and I couldn't wait to leave that party, get home, and read all the labels of the products that I had. So I was one of those folks that left early. I didn't purchase anything, and I sure as heck didn't host a party for her. And then I was absolutely not interested in what she was doing in the business. And I remember walking right past the white Mercedes, which was parked in the driveway, and that's actually the company car. And this gal had actually earned it in 4.5 months while working a busy job as a nurse. But it didn't matter. That was still not going to pique my curiosity for the business. My curiosity was piqued about the products. And so we went home that night. I sat on my bathroom floor as I pulled everything out from underneath my sink, because we all know as women, we'll try anything that says it works. And I had a graveyard of products. So every single thing I pulled out had the ingredients that she said are no-nos. And so I felt upset. I felt a little betrayed by the system. I remember throwing things in the trash can, like throwing them across the bathroom floor and calling out to my husband, I can't believe we've been ripped off. Like, I was mad. And my daughter has bad eczema on her hands. And we had tried everything on her eczema with doctor recommended creams, you name it. And nothing worked for that either. So I went to her room to read the labels on the products that we had purchased for her. And sure enough, you guys, same issue I found there. So that consultant got a phone call from me the very next morning, and I was determined to get some of the products. I still had no interest in the business, you guys, but I was definitely determined to get the products. And you guys, I do want to say this, that one of the biggest things that helped build my belief were the products. Because it took about 3 days of my skin, because I had really dry skin on my body and my legs. It would just, my legs, the skin would itch and crack and peel. It's just yucky. I know you're probably like, that's too much information, Beth. And, but that's the way it was. And my daughter's hands were dry, cracked, and bleeding all the time. But we saw a difference within a few days of her skin and my skin. So needless to say, I was sold on the products. And that consultant, Carlita, ran after me with a sample pack of the anti-aging line. And you guys, I just turned 47, but at the time I was almost 34 years old and had never used any skincare. I washed my face with like soft soap or bar soap, whatever was at the sink. And so I had not ever ventured into taking good care of myself. And And you guys can tell I'm really fair-skinned, and I spent the 80s as a teenager burning over and over and over again at the Southern California beaches to get somewhat of a tan. Okay, so I don't know if you would call it a tan, but it was a few shades darker than I am now. But that was with consequence, because as I got older, I started to see the damage. So it was almost like when I started using Arbonne's anti-aging line that my skin said, thank God you're finally feeding me good stuff. And I started to notice my skin just transform in front of me. So I was sold on the products. But I want to rewind really quick to back to that party. When we left that house, my husband was with me, you guys, because they had encouraged me to bring my husband, which was a new one for me. I had never taken my husband to a home party. As we left, we had an interesting conversation on the ride home that night. My husband was actually the one who encouraged me to take a look at the business. And see, Carlita had made a comment, and she had said, I can teach and train you how to make an extra $500 a month. And for us as a family of 6, an extra $500 sounded like an extra $5,000 a month. You guys, my husband was working 7 days a week, 3 different jobs. He was a senior pastor of a church. He was also a chaplain for the sheriff's department. He was also an electrician on his days off, and sometimes that even rolled into evenings. So $500 a month for our family would give us 1 day a week as a family of 6. We didn't often have that opportunity. And so he encouraged me to think about it. And I remember I didn't really think about it, you guys. I looked at him and said, no. I said, no, not happening, not me, no way, Jose, I don't do these things. And I had hosted parties for lots of friends who were in different companies, and I supported them in what they did and that, but nothing they ever did remotely intrigued me to do something like this. And I'll tell you why, you guys, because I had preconceived kind of like ideas about what it took. Now, Carlita, who I met at that party that night, was super outgoing. She was funny. She was laughing with everybody. It was a crazy party. It was like 25 men and women. She had a lot to have to, get people's attention. And I thought that's great for her, but I wasn't that kind of a personality. As a senior pastor's wife, I was very outgoing within my church, and I knew how to talk to new people within the church. And I even led women's ministries and other Bible studies that I taught. But as soon as I got outside of that circle of people, I became very shy and very recluse. Like, as a matter of fact, even at this party, the only people I knew there was my husband, the host, and her husband. And so I kind of found a spot on the couch and just sat there. I sat there like this, and I just quietly sat there. And I remember it was a foot spa, you guys, and I didn't even want to soak my feet. And Carlita kept, politely saying, oh, you're going to really like it. And I finally let her do it. But I definitely was very nervous in settings like that. So I had a lot of anxiety when it came to new crowds of people, because I really didn't know how to create those conversations. My husband can meet friends wherever he goes. Like, he used to be a cyclist riding road bikes for years, and he would come home and, 3 new guys, we're gonna go out to dinner with them and their wives. I'm like, how, when you're riding your bicycle and you're tired, how do you know to talk to the person riding by you? It's just crazy, but that's who he is. So that's why I thought, maybe he could do something like this, but I didn't think it was for me. And so he really encouraged me, guys, to think outside the box and to pray about it, see if it's something I was supposed to do. And so I said, okay, fine, I will. And sure enough, a month later, on January 4th of 2004, I actually signed up to sell Arbonne. You guys, I'm so forever grateful for my husband who encouraged me to think outside the box. And that's probably what the person who invited you onto this live feed was asking you to do too, because I was so against it. And it took him really encouraging me to think differently, because nothing was going to change in our situation. And I remember Carlita mentioning this at that presentation, what's going to change in 5 years? If you don't change a thing today, what's going to happen in 5 years? And we were so stressed financially at that time. Oh, it was just going to be way worse. We didn't have my husband was already working as much as he possibly could. I have 1 year of college under my belt, you guys. For me to go out there and work too, the money I was going to make was going to go straight to childcare. So it was kind of like a double-edged sword. So this was something in my already crazy busy life. I also homeschooled my 4 kids. So this was something I could actually build into the nooks and crannies of my time and of my day. And that's what I love about Arbonne is you can take the busiest schedule and still build this in. We have very successful doctors and attorneys, people who've worked many different jobs, who have built a very successful Arbonne business, you guys. And it's because we can really help with any time schedule. So I love that. The other thing I really loved when I joined Arbonne was when I sat down with Carlita, she showed me that there was a recipe for success. Now, if I had thought I would have to create a whole new business plan, that would have been crazy for me. Like, I would have been like, oh, maybe I could come up with something. I've never done this before. But the fact that there was a well-run system, a well-oiled machine that had already been working for over 20 years, creating many, many successful businesses, all I had to do was like kind of plug in and play follow the leader. And that's what I did. I attached myself to her hip and I followed her wherever she was. Not literally every single day, but if she was at a meeting, guess who was there too? Me, because I knew I needed to learn everything I possibly could. And I felt like I was coming into this business with a major deficit and being shy. So not only was I wanting to follow her wherever she was going and learn that system, but I also wanted to learn how to break out of my shy shell. And you guys, I'm so forever grateful for this business and helping me do that, because now you could put me in a room of 100 strangers and I know how to meet every single one. Not so 13 and a half years ago. So we have a system for success, you guys, that's in place, that all we have to do is plug into that system and we can be successful too. Now, I joined Arbonne for $500 a month, you guys, but 11 months into my business, guess what? I was actually picking out the company car. And that's where you make anywhere between $5,000 and $7,000 a month. And I will tell you, me and my husband pinched each other over and over again, because we didn't get involved in ministry to make lots of money, but we did used to sit around the kitchen table and say, oh my gosh, what if we could make $5,000 a month? And I'm not even joking. And some of you probably think that's comical, but that was our life. And we also used to sit around the kitchen table and in prayer and think, gosh, what if we could do ministry for free? Like, what if we could serve others without having to worry about taking a paycheck? We had no idea in our realm of thought that there was something out there like that existed. Because 11 months after me getting to get my white Mercedes at the regional vice president level, you guys, I reached the top of this company, which is national vice president. And at that point, we were able to free up some obligations of my husband, where he was able to serve others without having to worry about that paycheck. So that's just a side note of what's possible. So I always just tell people, gosh, if time and money were asked, if time and money weren't an issue, what would you be doing? You might still be doing what you're doing today, but how much more fun is it if you get to do it, not have to do it? When you can make money somewhere else and you get to do what you love to do instead of have to do it, there's a whole different mindset behind that. So I'm going to share with you guys, that's my story. And I've been there ever since. My favorite thing about this business is helping other people succeed. You know, people always ask all the time, what's the secret to success in a business like this? And I'm like, gosh, you know, it's loving on people, serving people, and helping others up. That's it. As a pastor's wife, you guys, at one point when our church was small and we were in the planting stages, I was the church secretary. I was homeschooling my kids, and my kids were tiny at the time. And so from between 8 and 5, I had to answer the phone, Calvary Chapel. And people would call every day asking for money. And that was another thing. We always talked about, gosh, I wish there was a way that we could help people with a hand up instead of always a hand out. And that's where God gave us Arbonne. So a few facts about Arbonne, you guys, and then I'll wrap it up. Is Arbonne has been around for 37 and a half years, which might not seem really important, but it really is, because only so many companies make it past year 10. And there's only so many network marketing companies that are over 10 years old. And so we're part of that special elite group. And that's for companies clear across the board, you guys. Not a whole lot of folks make it past 10 years. We have cutting research and development with our products, you guys. Our products are always evolving to be the best products possible. We have an incredible compensation plan, you guys. We have support from our home office. You have support on every level. And you guys, we're also a member of the Direct Selling Association, which is really important too. But really what is so special about Arbonne and our products, because our products are built on our European standards, you guys. We have a Swiss heritage, but European standards. In Europe, there's over 1,200 chemicals banned. In the United States, there's only 10 chemicals, or 10 to 12 chemicals banned in the United States. So we adhere to European guidelines. That was one of the first things that really intrigued me when I went to that presentation, you guys. We also source our ingredients from wherever they grow the best all over the world. So we're not, if something grows okay in the United States, but it grows even better somewhere else, we're going to get it from where it grows over there. We have all kinds of certifications, you guys. Our products are tested for GMOs, so they're non-GMO. We're in the process of getting that stamp of certification. We're vegan certified, gluten-free certified, so they're safe for celiac. We also are kosher. So many other certifications up the line are coming, you guys. We've also have never tested on animals. I really just like to toot Arbonne's horn a little bit for that one, because there's a lot of companies who have now stopped testing on animals, but we are cruelty free, you guys. And that's a big deal if you know what cruelty free is. As a matter of fact, PETA, the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, if you go to their website, they actually have a little stamp next to our name, which means they highly suggest we patronize Arbonne and buy from them because of our cruelty-free standards, you guys. And it's because also we've always had that stand. Animal byproducts and animal products or testing on animals is something we've never ever done. We have a motto, and it's called Pure, Safe, and Beneficial. Pure because we use plant-based ingredients, you guys. Safe because we actually test on human beings, and beneficial because you see results. From our 30 Days to Healthy Living program to our anti-aging line. Sometimes I like to joke around and tell people I'm almost 60, and I know that's a far one, but I do feel like I've seen a huge difference on my skin. The products work, you guys. They're amazing. But we do formulate. Remember I talked about that nasty list that Carlita mentioned that are not the ingredients that are not in Arbonne. So there's so many. Like, I'm just going to list off a few, you guys, because there's way too many to list that are in products. I just saw a thing on Facebook about Johnson & Johnson products, and I'm not here to bash other companies, you guys, but there are a lot of companies out there that are on the shelves that we purchase, whether at Sephora, Ulta, Macy's, Dillard's, Target, that have toxic ingredients in them. And people today are looking for products without those toxic ingredients. And if any of you've watched that fun documentary, I know it's not so fun, but it's great information on Netflix called What the Health. You've come to the right place too for those products, because that is Arbonne is a perfect opportunity or option when you're looking for plant-based vegan products. So we formulate without animal products or byproducts, like I mentioned, no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners, no benzoate, no guys, excuse me, trying to read these words, carbon black, no formaldehyde donating preservatives. It's just crazy to me that we'd have to put that anywhere in a list, but there are lots of products out there that you guys have formaldehyde in them. No mineral oil. This was a big one to me. This was basically baby oil that you buy at the grocery store is mineral oil with fragrance. So mineral oil, you guys, is a petroleum-based product. So is petroleum jelly, you guys. So that good old Vaseline, that's a petroleum-based product. You guys, did you guys know, I mean, when you think of petroleum, what do you think of? Gasoline, right? So petroleum or mineral oil is a refined process from gasoline. So I know none of you, when you're pumping your car up with gas, would ever sit there and think, oh my gosh, if I get a little gas on my hands, let me just moisturize it into my face. No, we would never think to do that. But you guys, it's a cheap filler, mineral oil is. And so it's used in products that are cheap and expensive. So just something to think about. No phthalates, which is a carcinogen and linked to all kinds of cancer and stuff. No sodium lauryl sulfate, no sodium lauryl sulfates, no synthetic dyes, no talc, no trixalan, no can't say that one. There's so many more. If you want to see a more detailed list, you guys can find that at arbonne.com, and you can also find it in our catalog as well. And before I move on and before I wrap this up, I do want to say part of the things about our products that I love is our anti-aging line and our nutrition line. But we are health and wellness from the inside out and outside in. So we take care of all the personal care products. So if you're like me and you want to be using cosmetics that are not laden with chemicals, you have Arbonne. If you would like to have great hair care that's not laden with chemicals, you have Arbonne. Then if you want to make sure you take care of your health from the inside, we have Arbonne. And then you've got your skincare and body care needs as well. We have Arbonne, and we have that for babies and also guys. So we cover everybody, all spectrums, you guys, which is so, so important. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and wrap this call up with just a couple more points, or this live, got to get used to saying that. One other really cool thing about Arbonne is you can grow a global business, you guys. When I joined Arbonne, we were in the United States only. And my sponsor, she said, hey, where do you know people in the United States? And I'm like, oh, I know people all over. But today I would say, where do you know people in the United States? Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Taiwan, UK, Poland, and then we're launching into Germany next year. You guys, did you know you can build a global business from your living room, from your smartphone? I was going to grab my smartphone, but I realized you guys are on my smartphone. You can grow a global business from here. That's so exciting. Some companies don't allow you to do that. They want you to live in that country to do it, but Arbonne allows us to sponsor across international lines in the countries that we're in. So that's so cool. And one thing I just want to run through really quick is just to tell you the average incomes, you guys, because there's just 4 levels of management. I'm kind of a numbers girl, and sometimes people ask me to look at other compensation plans to compare with Arbonne. You guys, I got to tell you, we have the most simple laid out compensation plan I've ever seen, because a lot of other companies have like 35, 40 different levels or 10 levels in between each one. And my brain starts to hurt trying to figure out how to make money on each. But with Arbonne, it's cut, dry, and simple. We have 4 levels of management. District manager, the average district manager makes anywhere between $500 and $800 a month. Area manager is the second level. An area manager, you make anywhere between $1,000 and on the high side around $5,000 a month. But what's really special at this level is you can will your business. At the very second level, I got there in 4 months. You can actually will your business. You guys, that means it's a living asset. You are passing a living asset on to whomever you want to leave your business to. So that's leaving a legacy. That's huge. That person you leave that to can then take it and grow it and run with it. How cool is that? The third level is regional vice president, and that's where you get to drive the company car, which is a white Mercedes, and you're going to make anywhere between $5,000 and $7,000 a month. On the high side, probably $12,000, $13,000, $14,000. And national vice president is the top, and that's where I'm at, you guys. And the average income there is $21,000 a month. Now, there is no glass ceiling. If you want to test me on that, ask the person who invited you onto this live for a copy of the compensation plan. Then find an economist and say, hey, tell me where I'm going to tap out on how much money I can make in this business. And not only are they going to call you and say, can I join your business? They're going to tell you that there is no tap out in how much money you can make in this business. So that $21,000, you guys, is an average. There are people making way more than that a month in this business. And so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to type them down. And hopefully if you've been asking and people have been answering, but I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this information. If you need anything else, just talk to the person who invited you on. But I hope you decide to join us, you guys, because there is room for as many people as possible to join us. And it's just exciting. Whether you need an extra $500 a month, or you need to replace an income, or you want to pay off debt, you can do all of that through the vehicle called Arbonne. So thank you guys for being on with me tonight. I hope you guys have a blessed evening for the rest of the day. Thanks, guys.